seasons lost. In Austin, I stalled, paused. My eyes crawled to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Though dice and woes of life, love deprived, look at her vibe. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, moments reflected. Often mirrors appear, quick, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near, stay there. Remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose.
In paradise. Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. We're going to talk about today the difference between breaking records and beating records, which drives me insane. Okay, people are constantly, "Oh, he broke this record." No, he did not break the record. He beat the record. So today we're going to discuss the differences between the two, because clearly some people have no idea what beating a record is versus breaking. The media goes, "Oh, he broke record," and it's just sensational. It's just for the public at large who don't understand, for them to go, "Oh, wow, he broke the record." No, he just beat the record. So we're going to talk about that. And but to start out, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, which if you're not in LA, you really not going to watch, because I don't think anybody cares to watch the Rams and the Bengals outside of Ohio or California. Nobody really cares. Can't believe Patrick Mahomes basically choked. Not choked, but choked. I guess he just did not play well. But the Chiefs lost the game at the end of the first half when 5 seconds left. Patrick Mahomes was completely young. Patrick Mahomes didn't know how many timeouts it was and pulled a Tom Brady, which cost the Chiefs a chance to kick a field goal or score a touchdown. So, anyways, the Bengals came back, upset the Chiefs. Bottom line is you did not run the play calls. You had the ball twice inside the 5-yard line and could not score at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. So, anyway, hats off to the Bengals. They won it. The Rams, on the other hand, I picked them to beat the 49ers. I just didn't see how the 49ers were going to beat them 7 times in a row. And we discussed that, about how hard it is to beat somebody that many times. But anyway, I'm not going to watch it. So let's move on to the good topic, that is beating versus breaking. Now, there's a couple records that I think that have been beaten, not broken. Okay? One of them is, and I don't think these records to me will ever be broken, and one is Babe Ruth's home run record of 714. Now, was it beat? Yes, Hank Aaron beat it. He played in 3,000 more games, and he had, 47 more home runs, 41 more home runs than he did. But think about that for a second. He played in 3,000 more games, and it took him that many home plate appearances. He did it in 10,000, 714. Nobody will ever break that. Now, Barry Bonds shattered Henry Aaron's, and Henry Aaron's broke his. Granted, yeah, great, whatever. But the actual record is 714. Nobody has ever beaten or broken that record. Has been beaten twice, but nobody's ever broken it. So I've got to give it to that as a record that will never be broken. It's kind of like Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. Pete Rose came close. Well, 44 games is just insane. 46 games is insane hitting straight. And baseball, by the way, is the hardest thing to do in sports, is hit a baseball. And considering that he did it for that many games in a row, it's just mind-boggling, insane as far as being able to be mentally prepared. And, everybody calls Ted Williams the greatest hitter in baseball. Well, maybe, but God, the guy with the greatest record is Joe DiMaggio, not him. So that record will never be broken. I mean, it won't even be beaten. It won't be broken. It won't be touched. I don't believe that's one of those records, and we may discuss that. Some records that will not be touched, will not be broken, will not be beaten, will not be anything. Cal Ripken's streak, beating Lou Gehrig, that won't be beaten. Even though Cal Ripken did it, it's kind of like a guy like Walter Payton's record. Okay, being beaten by Emmitt Smith. Dude, you're a shell of yourself. All you were doing was just trying to stay in to break the record. That's all you were doing. Kind of like LeBron with Kareem. LeBron has his spurts, but his body's breaking down on him. But all he's doing is he's staying in the league long enough to break Kareem's record. Okay? That's what he's doing. And to me, when you're the greatest, you don't miss games. He misses games for whatever reasons. You're the greatest player. People don't have a lot of money. So if you play in Philadelphia one time, you play in Philadelphia that one time on the road. Take a game. If you're going to take a game off, take one at home when you're in Cleveland or when you're in Miami or when you're in L.A. I can't tell you how many games he missed in Oklahoma. These kids buy tickets thinking they're going to see LeBron. He didn't show up. Kobe did the same thing at the end of his career. When he was all beaten down. And that last year, he just, came whenever he could. But before that, Kobe didn't miss games. Michael for sure didn't miss games. He for sure didn't miss games because he understood what people were spending and what they were doing, and that may be the only time they ever got the chance to see him play. He was there, unlike the fake GOAT, LeBron. Okay, but anyway, baseball. 714, 10,000 plate appearances. 13,000 for Henry Aaron. That's insane, dude. He did not break his record. Okay, we're talking about football. And since we're talking about Jim Brown's record, 12,312 yards in 118 games. Now, put it in comparison, Barry Sanders, who was the only one even remotely close to him, had 11,723 in 121 games. Think about that. Now, he eventually beat Jim Brown's record, and so did Adrian Peterson, and so did Walter Payton, and so did Emmitt Smith, and so did Frank Gore. I mean, Frank Gore played forever. These guys are they're chasing numbers. Do we put them as the greatest ever? I don't put Emmitt Smith above Barry Sanders. Nobody else does either except Emmitt. And the Dallas Cowboy fans who are fanatical and, just want to be blind. But if they had the choice between Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith with the greatest offensive line in the history of pro football, who are you going to take? In fact, I asked Neil Smith and Derek Thomas that one time. Who would you take? Because at that time, there was a huge debate on who was better, Barry versus Emmitt. And they both laughed at me. I mean, literally laughed at me and go, dude, if Barry Sanders was playing for the Cowboys, he'd have 2,500 yards. I go, man, you're crazy. He goes, nah, bro. He goes, the difference between them is Emmitt averaged 4.3 or 4.4. He said the difference is the way that the Cowboys played, everybody was split. The strong safety tackled Emmitt in the hole. And he goes, how many times have you noticed somebody ever tackling Barry Sanders one-on-one? He goes, that's not going to happen. So Barry would have been well over his 5 yards to carry. And by the way, him and Jim Brown are the only two ever to do that, average 5 yards to carry. So anyway, that's another record that will never be, that it was beaten but not broken. Okay, Barry even beat the record. But like I said, after the same number of years, Barry had 121 games and versus 118. And he was close to the record. I mean, what was he, 500 yards short? But he still wouldn't beat it because he didn't play the same amount of games. It took him more games to beat his record, as did Frank Gore, as did Emmitt Smith, as did Walter Payton, as did Adrian Peterson, who was a monster, by the way. But still, all these guys all beat his record. Eric Dickerson, they all beat his record. None of them broke his record. His record would never be broken. Beaten, yes. Broken, no. Because especially now, today's football, everybody throws the football. They don't run it, so for sure it's not going to be broken now. The only person that might have a chance is that beast down in Tennessee. He might be the only one that could have a chance to break that. Now, let's go on to talk about 2,000 yards. That's been beaten. Everybody go, oh, they broke his record. No, he did it in 14 games. Now, O.J. Simpson is O.J. Simpson. He did what he did. But that doesn't take away from how great he was. What a magnificent, beautiful runner that he was. I mean, if you go back and watch some of his, he was unbelievable, so smooth, so graceful, so fast. Never really got a hit on him. But anyway, did he break his record? Yes. Did he beat his record? Did he break his record? No. Did he beat his record? Yes. Jim Brown. But that 2,000 yards in 14 games. And think about this. Everybody who gets to 2,000 yards usually breaks it in the last game of the season, in the 16th game. So 2 more games. Most of all those 2,000, you go look at those records, they're all in 16 games. All of them. And all of them barely got over 2,000. What's the record? 2,100 by Eric Dickerson or whatever it is. But it's 16 games. Think about that. He rushed for 2,003 yards in 14 games. Never be broken. It's been beaten multiple times by far lesser running backs but it will never, ever be broken. The difference between beating and breaking. And the simplest way to put it is this. To beat a record, you have to do less time or less games or less at-bats or less whatever than it took the person to break it. Now, when I got to OSU, the first thing I did was I wanted to see who the greatest guard was to ever play at Oklahoma State basketball. His name was Ronnie Daniel. When he left Oklahoma State, he was second all time in scoring, first all time in steals, first all time in assists, first all time in career assists and career steals and season assists and season steals. He was number one, the best guard ever to play there, and finished number 2 in scoring. So when I got that, I said, boom, mark that down. That's the guy I want to be. Beat his record. When I left, second all-time leading scorer, first all-time in assists, first all-time in steals, first in season assist, first in career steals. So I broke all of his stuff. Why? Because I wanted to break it, not beat it. Well, actually, I beat a couple of his records, not broke them all. But I wanted to be sure that when I left, all those records that number one guard in the history of Oklahoma State had, I took them all. Some I broke, some I beat. But that's the thing. You have to go out and say, I want to break records. I don't want to beat records. I want to break records. And did they do that? Nah, they didn't do that. Now, when you look at Walter Payton and what he did in 16,726 yards, okay, on 3,838 carries. Barry Sanders had 15,269 yards in 155 games. Payton had 190 games to set that record. Sanders had 3,062 attempts. Payton had 3,838 attempts, and he was only 1,000 yards, 1,500 yards more. 1,460 yards. Now, how many of y'all think that Barry Sanders would have broke, not beat, would have broke his record? How many of y'all think that Barry Sanders would have set a record so far out there that Emmitt Smith would not have touched, no matter how many years he'd play for a team just to get 150 yards or 200 yards to try to break that record? So, Emmitt, you can say what you want to. We all know that that's Barry Sanders' record if he wanted it. But we all know Barry. Barry didn't care nothing about records. That was not his deal. He just didn't care. He flat out just didn't care. He and Jim Brown both left at the height of their careers when they walked away. And that's the thing with Tom Brady. You're getting ready to walk away, bro, walk away. And when we talk about it, we'll talk about some of his records. Some will be beaten, some will be broken. And there's a couple that I don't think maybe only Patrick Mahomes may be the only person that might have a chance to do it. Possibly if he plays for 23 years like Brady did, he might have a chance to do it. But everybody else, he's got records. But we talk about that once he decides to retire. So let's talk about the Thunder tonight. The Thunder is playing Portland, and that's going to be a big game for the Thunder. I had a long conversation with some friends of mine the other night, and we were talking about the Thunder. And I'm excited about them, and most people should be. I know a lot of people are mad at whatever, which is stupid, why they aren't going to games or cancel their tickets. That's just stupid. We're one of 30 cities that has a team. You're not hurting all these idiot people out there. You're hurting our city. You're hurting our team. You're hurting us. That's what you're hurting. Go to the games. Renew your tickets. Come back. They're fun. The games are entertaining. They're a blast. And if you go back to them, you'll enjoy it. Now, I understand some people who cancel their tickets because they just don't go to games, and it's hard to give them away. It really is. My guy, Randy Wright, used to have 6 tickets. Now they have 4. And it's hard to give them away. I mean, he and I figured we probably, in the 12 years, I guess 11 years, this is 13, and we didn't do it last year. But those 11 years, he and I probably went to 60 games, 4 to 5 games a year that would just be me and him. Those other 4 tickets wasted. Couldn't give them away. People, they got kids, they got games, they work late, wife had other plans for them, whatever. So I understand how hard it is to do that, to go to games. But once you go, you enjoy it. It's a blast. Thunder games are amazing, and it's the experience. It doesn't matter necessarily if we're winning or losing. That would matter if we're losing and not being competitive. That would be different, but we're not. You are invested like we lost the other night. You're invested in the games. Tonight is going to be really interesting because we're not going to have SGA. So my keys are simple for the game tonight. Giddy, you have to be a leader on the floor. You can't be at the end of games passing the ball off and doing all that. You got to be aggressive. You got to stay aggressive. You can't be afraid to shoot the ball at the end of the quarter, end of the half, end of the game. You can't dribble to 4 seconds and then pass and somebody expects something good to happen. Guess what? Not going to happen because we don't have the talent in order to do that. Dort is not yet capable of being our leader, but he's going to step out there thinking he's going to be the leader and score a bunch of points and all that. Like I told people, it's not how many points you score, it's when. You look at Patrick Mahomes last night, right? He had almost 300 yards passing in the first half and had what? To the last drive, he had what, 90, 80? In 1 quarter and a half, almost 2 full quarters. So it's not how many yards you have, it's when you get them. It's not how many points you have, it's when you get them. And then what do you do? And then the mistakes that you make. Like at the end of the game, he made 2 great threes in OT and then came back and turned the ball over because he started trying to do something that he was not capable of, trying to take him off the dribble, going between 2 people. That's SGA can do that. Giddy can do that. He doesn't have the talent to do that yet. Now, catch a 3, not lean back and shoot it, he can do that. He's going to be more successful trying that than leaning back, and we talked about that the other night. Now, another key, we got to keep these guys in front of us. We can't let them get to the basket. You got to block. We have no shot blockers, even Diakite, and I love that guy. He's not really a shot blocker, but he does get his hands up, and he does kind of intimidate people a little bit and kind of help alter some shots. So that's good. And then again, we have to rebound by committee. We have to rebound. Everybody's got to crash, but we can't have some guy out there leaking out towards the half court line trying to get an easy bunny. Get your butt in there and rebound. We got to have all 5 guys around in the paint trying to rebound. Like we have to protect the paint by committee on defense. Everybody sags. Everybody shot goes up. Somebody tries to block it. Everybody has to come in there and block out and rebound. We can't get killed on the offensive boards, okay? Because they've got another big, and we have trouble with teams that have bigs because we don't have one. Which, again, is what we've talked about, and we're going to talk about that in a minute as far as what the Thunder need as far as draft picks. As I went through and kind of looked at that and said, okay, what do we need? What do the Thunder need? Who's available out there? Now, the main and the most important key that I have for the game tonight, if we get down, don't panic and start doing stuff that you're not capable of. Everybody trying to go one-on-one and do things. That's not your game. You can't do it. If we do that, Kendrick Williams, Baisley, Jerome, if y'all start doing it, Dort, if y'all start doing all that, we're in trouble. You can't. That's not your game. Catching and shooting, or catching in space, attacking the basket, catching while attacking, get a nice pass, finished at the basket. Yeah, possibly. We don't do that as well, but we do that a lot better than we do shooting threes. You can't put up 40-something threes and expect to win a ball game when you're shooting 27%, 30%. Not going to get it done. If you're shooting 35 to 40%, you shoot that many, yeah, we're going to win a lot of games. We don't have shooters. That's something we've talked about. Big men, shooters. Those are things we need to go get. And when you look at what's available out there, big man-wise, there's Christian Wood out there, who is a big guy. He's got 2 years left on his contract, averaging 17 and 10. Nice pop guy, can pop out, shoot it. I think he'd be a great asset to us. We've got plenty of draft picks. Houston's looking for picks. He's young. I think he'd fit in with our young team, with Giddy and with SGA and with Dort. I think he'd fit fast, along with Wiggins and Terrence Mann. I think he'd fit in great with us. Plus, we have something to give them if that's what they want. We used to have Jeremy Grant. He's no longer with our. We traded him off, which. Whatever that was, but, guess we needed picks that we have not used. But we haven't gotten anything nearly as good in the draft as we did what we gave up with him. Nothing. Now, I'm assuming we got Baisley as a replacement for him, but he's not even close to Jeremy Grant, averaging 20 and 4. Not even close. Okay? John Collins, whom I really, really like, at Atlanta, man, he can shoot it. And Atlanta's, they've got 2 guys that aren't available for sale, and that's Trey and the big guy. Just did used to play at Houston. I'll think of his name just a second. My mind just went blank. But those two guys are not available, but everybody else is available to trade. Why? Because Atlanta's got a plethora of shooters, plethora of talent, guys who can get off the dribble, can score, can create their own shots. We don't have that. They do. He would be a nice fit for us. And you got Richard Holmes from Sacramento. Love the big. That's another big guy. 12 and 8. Go up. He can intimidate people, block shots. He's not really that much of a scorer, but he can rebound, get his own shot, get his put back. But he can intimidate people coming through the floor. Now, of course, Buddy Hale. I mean, everybody knows who he is. OU guy came through. Was at Sacramento, averaging 15 points a game. Extremely good shooter. The Lakers had him and traded him away because LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook, which still just blows me away why anybody would want him. But Buddy's available. 2 years left on his deal. Be a great deal to get after that. Norman Powell, like that guy from Portland. You'll see him tonight. You guys tell me what you think, and we'll talk about him after the game tonight. Averaging 18 and 2. We got Justin Holiday from Indiana. Good shooter. We got Daniel Theus. He's a great shooter. So we from the Rockets. So the Rockets have two guys that I think would benefit us greatly, and Theus and Christian Wood. They'd benefit us much more than that. And we have draft picks. And we can trade Kendrick Williams or whatever. We got some pieces that we could get rid of for that. But those two guys would benefit us way more. I mean, because those are two pieces that we need. You got Christian Wood and Diakite. Now all of a sudden you got some bigs and you got Muscala coming off the bench shooting threes, but he can't defend. He cost us the other night because he couldn't rebound offensive rebound. They missed 2 free throws. Bro, you have to get the rebound. You're 6'10". Didn't get the ball. Okay? So those are some of the people that I think the Thunder should take. Those are opportunities, but you'll get to see like Daniel Theus and Christian Wood. I think both of those will be great picks. But tonight you will get to see Norman Powell, and we can talk about that after the game tonight. So anyway, hope everybody goes to the game. And tomorrow we'll be talking about the NBA All-Star Game, who all made it. And by the way, if you've never gone to an NBA All-Star Game, that's a thing that you need to go see. Everybody talks about the Super Bowl and all of that other stuff, but I can promise you, the NBA All-Star Weekend, nothing like it. It's an absolute blast. And we are slowly starting to build hotels and hotels. That's why we got the convention center. And we could possibly host one when we get enough hotels. Clearly, we don't have enough hotels at this point to be able to. But can you imagine the boost to the city of an NBA All-Star Weekend, how much money that would bring in, how much notoriety that would bring to our city? People, go support the Thunder. Let's build it up. Keep building hotels around it. Keep going. We've got the convention center. These guys can have an extra word to practice, so we can do some things there. You know, you got the Omni downtown. You've got the Renaissance downtown. You have the Skirvin downtown. We have tons. I mean, we got the hotels downtown. You got the Cold Court. We got great restaurants. You know, you got Manhattan. You got Mahogany. You got the Mantle. And you got Mickey Mantles downtown. So we've got tons of good places to eat. And it's a lot of fun. And there's tons of places if you want to go. If you're younger, there's definitely places to go down to Bricktown for you to have a good time and hang out down in Bricktown. So anyway, that's my deal. Hope everybody enjoyed my comments on beating versus breaking records, which people wear me out with that. And I hope you guys, this will make you a little bit more knowledgeable when you hear some idiot on SportsCenter or Fox or whatever. Oh, he beat a record or he broke that record. You can go, you idiot. He beat it. He did not break it. He beat it. He did not break it. Babe Ruth's home run record, never be broken. It's been beaten. Jim Brown's, his career rushing record will never be beaten, was broken. And then the 2,000 yards in 14 games will never be broken, but it's been beaten. And those are things, and for sure nothing will be even touched as Joe DiMaggio or Will Chamberlain's 100 points in one game. Now, our boy Kobe got 81. Think about that in four quarters. But 100 in a game, that record will never be broken. It will never be beaten either. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed this God, I'm sorry. This weather's just beating my sinuses up. But I hope you enjoyed the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Thanks.
In that moment, I rediscovered you, nectar gods, are the portal of the universe.